là chánh niệm trí tuệ của dòng này và chánh niệm trí tuệ của dòng tâm khác. Còn đây Achan đang giảng về cái đồng sinh duyên, có nghĩa là chánh niệm và trí tuệ của cùng một dòng tâm. Sau đó thì Ngài đặt câu hỏi đó có phải là thiện bạn hữu không, thì nhưng mà xin hỏi lại chỗ này là nghe không rõ hay là cái ý nghĩa nó là như thế nào ạ?
Yes. Okay. So she said that continue on the discussion last week. She asked a question regarding guarding of the senses, and because at the end it was raining, so she couldn't hear very well. So she listened again, and she heard Ashan said that at the moment of kusala and moment of understanding, there is the guarding of the senses, and also that different dhammas support each other. For example, the moment of sati, a bright sati, understanding has to be there. And other moment there is sati, but no understanding. And when talking about the moment of understanding, of sati with understanding, she said that she asked the question: is there the wise friend, a good friend at that moment? So that is something she is a little bit confused about, because before she used to understand that when talking about the good friends, we are talking about chittas arising in another streams of consciousness. But in this explanation, Achan seemed to be just suggesting that even chittas at the same stream of consciousness, when they are the understanding chittas, then they are the wise friend. So she'd like to hear more explanation on this point. Thank you.
Just to go through it slowly, one by one. So, as she said, at the moment of kusala, with or without understanding, there is guarding of the senses at that moment of kusala. Sati is there guarding at any moment of kusala. And at that moment, we mentioned about how the different wholesome factors support each other. Ajahn mentioned anyamanya pachya. This is the way that the different Chaitasikas arise together and support each other at that moment, or any moment, even at akusala moments, akusala factors support and arise together. So now we're talking about the wholesome factors arising and supporting each other at those moments. And sati is always there at moments of kusala, guarding. As she said, at moments of kusala with sati, it can be with or without panya, understanding. At moments of understanding of the truth, understanding of dhammas, we're not talking about understanding in the development of samatha bhavana. We're talking about understanding of the truth, understanding of realities. Without having heard the Buddha's teachings, it would be impossible to understand the truth. It would be impossible to understand seeing now as a Dhamma, not a person, not anyone, not anything, just a Dhamma which arises by conditions, sees what is visible now, and falls away instantly. So at moments of right considering or even deeper, stronger understanding when it is direct understanding. But from the beginning, at those moments of understanding the truth, there is the taking refuge in the Buddha's teachings, however little, with that understanding. There is the appreciation of the good friend at that moment by developing understanding. So we can say at the moments of understanding, there is the good friend, the Buddha, who taught the Dhamma, even if there's no thought about the Buddha, because without the Buddha, how would it be possible for that understanding to arise and develop? So we sometimes can just refer to the appreciation of the good friend, the best friend of all, the Buddha, when reflecting on the Buddha's qualities, when reflecting on his great compassion and great understanding. But we can also say at moments of understanding, that is the respect, the taking refuge in the Buddha, in his teachings, which would not be possible if we had not heard about the teachings. So it's now, a moment of understanding now, just seeing the world falling apart now, what is seen, just what is visible, falling apart, just different dhammas. So without a good friend, impossible to know this. So we can say the good friend is anyone who teaches us the truth. So we share the Dhamma together, so we can be good friends to each other, encourage each other in understanding of the truth, and appreciate that the best friend of all is the Buddha, not anyone, but those qualities that led to the development of understanding, so that the understanding now can develop. So deeper and deeper the meaning of good friend. Perhaps Ajahn would like to add more, because they were her comments you were mentioning in particular.
It's good friend Dhamma. Or not Dhamma.
Sao con không nghe thanh tâm? Dạ, phải ạ. Thiện bạn hướng làm pháp ạ.
Yes, it's Dhamma, Ajahn.
It's Akusala Dhamma. Good friend.
Pháp thiện ạ.
Only Kusala Dhamma, Ajahn.
That's why we have to know that only right understanding is good friend, good Dhamma, which helps one to understand the truth. There are so many good Cetasika, but not as best as right understanding of the truth right now. The best friend of all must be the Buddha himself. Otherwise, how can there be the understanding of the teachings? That's all. Just understand Dhamma and understand what is meant by friend, Dhamma, good or no, not good Dhamma, all are Dhammas. Learn to let go the idea of someone or I or something, because in truth, actually they are all Dhammas conditioned to arise and fall away. That's all. That's all. But what is now? Good or not good friend? Associate with good friend.
Dạ, có những khoảng khắc nghe Achan hiểu, anh nghe Achan giảng thì con có một chút hiểu, thì khoảng khắc đó chắc là có thiện bạn hữu ạ. Achan là thiện bạn hữu ạ.
So at the moment of listening to Achan with some understanding, then Achan is the good friend.
Because can I be good friend by not saying
Dạ,
anything
tại
about
vì
it?
cái phẩm chất trí mà Achan đang nói về sự thật mà khiến con nghe có sự suy xét về ạ.
Because of the understanding in Achan that condition the consideration in me.
When there is the understanding, the Dhamma of good friend, there can be a little more understanding of Dhamma, more good friend, more moment to associate with good friend.
On this point, I would like to clarify something. When like the Buddha or Achan, for example, teaches the Dhamma, sometimes we don't understand, but that even though we don't understand, the person who teaches the right teaching is still the good friend, right? It's independent
Yes.
from the right.
Because the word is correct, the word is true. But what about one's own considering about whether it's true or how much is so true?
Dạ, tuy là phẩm chất ở nơi ấy hoặc nơi Achan hoặc nơi Đức Phật giảng thì đúng là phẩm chất nơi đấy là trí, thì mức trí tuệ ấy luôn luôn là tốt đẹp. Nhưng mà với một người không nhận lãnh được thì sự suy xét của họ vẫn không thể sinh khởi ạ.
She said that so for the Buddha or Achan, for example, when you teaches is with understanding, but sometimes when there's not consideration from the part of the listener, then understanding cannot arise.
So don't blame the good friend.
Sometimes when people listen to the Buddha completely rejected, like Devadatta, but still the Buddha was a good friend, even if one turns away and doesn't want to hear it. So it shows at those moments that even though the good friend is ready to help, but when there's no understanding, no considering, no listening, then not appreciated, no association with the good friend, even though one's sitting in the same room or sitting in the same Dhamma discussion, like when one's just daydreaming and not listening at all. The good friend is there, but no association at those moments.
Dạ vâng, không, đúng là vì không hiểu nên không trân quý, thì lúc đấy bậc thiện trí vẫn là bậc thiện trí, nhưng mà không lợi ích cho người kia thì có phải là để lợi ích về trong tương lai không ạ?
So she said that so at that moment when there's no understanding, no appreciation of the right words, but can we say that is it still beneficial for the future?
Who knows? Depends on conditions. Sometimes just a little is heard and we turn away, but there are conditions to reflect on it later. Some people come and listen for a while and then they go and follow other ideas, other practices. But some parts of what has been heard will be helpful later. Sometimes we meet people we haven't seen for decades and they say they still remember what was heard a long time ago, even though they haven't been listening anymore. So it depends on conditions. We know conditions are so intricate. It depends on the accumulations and what Sanya marks and remembers ready to record later. So it's always helpful to share the Dhamma when possible, but we have no expectation of what the result will be. And I think we have to come back to this moment. So now, at moments of understanding about Dhammas, at those moments, it is the association with a good friend, especially with the understanding of the Buddha. So at any moments of understanding, there is the good friend there, which is that has shared the Dhamma, that there is understanding of however little. So we don't need to make it too complicated. Otherwise we get lost in the details. Well, what about now? What about then? And what about when I'm at home and there's just a little understanding? Is it this? Is it that? But what about now? What about understanding now? And then no doubt, no question at those moments, what is good friend?
Nhưng con vẫn muốn hiểu rõ hơn rằng nếu như không hiểu một chút nào thì phẩm chất của bậc thiện trí thì vẫn luôn là bậc thiện trí, và như thế kể cả khi không hiểu một tí nào thì vẫn là bậc thiện trí, phải không ạ?
Vâng, các vị vẫn nói vậy đấy, nhưng con dịch lại cho cô, thực ra là các vị vẫn vậy. So she said she wanted to just make sure that even though the listener doesn't have any understanding, the good friend is still the good friend.
The good friend is the good friend if they're the one who shares or encourages kusala and encourages the development of understanding, even if the listener doesn't appreciate it or turns away or doesn't understand what is said. So we try to be the good friend to others, no matter the circumstances, but it depends on the others' accumulations, whether they have any interest or not.
Dạ, con cảm ơn bà Sarah ạ.
Thank you.
They may even react angrily and think that we're not a good friend because they think that what we say is not true, not correct. But still, when there's confidence in what is true, what is right, we just try our best to be the good friend.
I think it's the same when there's metta towards another being, whether that being appreciates the fact that we are being friendly towards him or her is beside the point. But metta is metta, and being the good friend is being the good friend, regardless of the response from the other party. So for the person who is being helpful to the other, no expectation of any appreciation of the help being given. It is one is being a good friend because one appreciates the value of doing so, of helping that person, not because of any expectation of how the other person receives that help.
I may have mentioned before one time, a long time ago, when Ajahn and Nina and I were staying in Sri Lanka, and I was staying with one friend, and Nina and Ajahn were staying with another friend. And Nina mentioned to me that afterwards that the lady, the host, didn't like them, didn't agree with them, and was quite unfriendly. And she mentioned this to Ajahn, and Ajahn said, it doesn't matter at all. We're friendly to her. We're good friends to her. So it's just by conditions. It doesn't matter. So instead of thinking, who is a good friend, what about being a good friend, encouraging kusala, and who we're not responsible for the result. It depends on the accumulations.
Cô Hoa có định nói gì không ạ? Con thấy cô mở mic rồi đấy. Cô có định nói gì không? Là hiện giờ cô chưa nói gì đúng không ạ? Thế thì dạ vâng, thế nếu cô Hòa không có thêm câu hỏi nào về chủ đề này thì cả nhà mình có ai có câu hỏi gì khác không ạ? I don't know if anyone has any other questions, but I'm just thinking about a term that we come across in the Sabbasavat Sutta, Sabbasavat Sutta, and is it Patisankhayoniso? So it seems that it's used in particular with the way the monks use the four requisites, right? Do you have any comment on this term?
Sorry, could you repeat the term, please, Dhamma? I didn't catch it.
Yes, Patisankha Yoniso.
Patisankha Yoniso.
Cho em cái từ bằng tiếng Việt không ạ?
Như lý giác sát em ạ. It's like the right contemplation. For example, contemplation on food or contemplation on the use of
Right.
the
You mean not for beautification and
right,
just for supporting the body and living the Dhamma life and so forth?
right.
Yes. So what's your question about
Yes,
it?
just about the meaning of this term. Is it
Mhm.
does it refer? It is the same than manisa manika manasikara, yoniso manasikara, and is
Okay.
specifically in the case for monks, right?
It is a description of how the monk who has well-developed understanding thinks about these things. So it's not given as something to be recited in order to have kusala citta. It's the other way around. It's a description of how well-developed kusala reflects on food, the requisites, and so forth. Does that answer your question?
Yes, I think so. So in the end, actually many realities must be there. Manasikara must be there. Vitaka must be there. Everything.
Of course, yeah. It's for the monk being described. It is all kusala, but for the individual who takes it as being something that can bring kusala, conduce towards kusala, there is no kusala in reciting these things. So one of our friends once told us that some group he had been associated with held the belief that if one recited this before eating, then the taking of the food would be kusala. No attachment during the meal if one recites this before the meal. Obviously, totally wrong view, totally wrong idea of what it's all about.
That's right. I remember when I was staying in a temple and they used to recite that before meals, and I liked it very much.
Yes.
Actually, it was attachment to the melody, many other things.
Right. Yeah.
I think it means the patisanka yoniso with proper care and attention, and in this context, as Jonathan and you have said, properly in respect with regard to one's requisites, the proper use, the proper care of them, just for living, just for leading one's life as a bhikkhu. Perhaps Ajahn has more to add as well.
We cannot hear you, Ajahn.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm not sure what we are talking about. One reality, or what about?
Talking about the expression that we come across in the text, in the Visuddhimagga, and Tam mentioned in the sutta, patisanka yoniso, carefully or with proper care. And sometimes it's used with regard to the use of one's requisites as a monk, for the use of living, not for the use of being greedy, or not for the use of requiring more, but just for life as a bhikkhu to continue life for studying the Dhamma and sharing the Dhamma. Are you familiar with the expression Patisanka Yoniso?
Patisankhara, what? The last term, the last word.
The last word is yoniso, as in yoniso manasikara, yoniso, patisanka, yoniso.
Yeah. So manasikara and yoniso, no matter what, includes patisankhara, what is there in life, no matter one is monk or lay people. There cannot be any understanding, any kusala without wise considering about the truth of what is there. It means that not any moment should be akusala and no understanding of the truth. Can it covers all that in life to be considered carefully to understand the truth? Patisankhara, yoniso manasikara. Each moment, each level, including different lives too. Monk's life, lay's life, teacher's life, friend's life, whatever is there, without considering carefully, can there be the understanding of patisankhara? What is there should be considered as monk's life, no matter what is seen, heard, smelled, tasted, touched. The truth is there, very general in daily life, very normal until there is a little more understanding of the way it is. Not permanent at all. What appears cannot be anything at all, only that which is seen. That's why each word of the teachings about the truth shouldn't be neglected. But can it be a moment of considering the truth, depending on how much understanding of the truth at that moment is of that object? For example, seeing that which is seen now, is there enough understanding without a little more considering? They are different, no matter what. The point is to understand the truth, which is Dhamma and Anatta. No matter what word of the teachings, what stage, what level, it just conditions the moment of understanding, little by little. And at that moment of understanding, no need to try to let go. No one is letting go. But as moment of understanding is there understands, it let go ignorance. And the world of atta gradually worn away, so very little, depending on whether it touched the object correctly with understanding of that reality as a reality, a Dhamma. Learn to understand Dhamma as Dhamma by Patisankhara, Yoniso Manasikara, different stages, clearer, more and more subtle, more and more gradually letting go. So very little at the moment, but without it, without that moment, it's impossible to penetrate the truth now arising and falling away, different ones, uncontrollable. Is this Patisankhara, Yoniso Manasikara as well? No, it's not. It has to be different from this. That's why understanding the truth, and Buddha taught about different degrees, different stages of right understanding develop on and on, sharper, clearer, deeper, subtler, everything, depending on understanding a moment to a moment to a moment. But yoniso manasikara of that which is sankhara, There can be the understanding of the meaning of the word and about the truth of the word, not just only the meaning, the nature of that reality. Until understanding Dhamma as Dhamma. It's not anyone's task at all. It's all Dhamma's arising, performing its function gradually according to understanding at moment of hearing, considering, patisankhara, yoniso manasikara. That's why if we don't use the Pali term, but understanding what is meant by manasikara, Panya cannot arise at all without wisely attention, consideration, patiently, with viriya as parami, because we are talking about the truth of what is there right now, but the truth doesn't open up to be known yet. It's covered up many layers of avijja and tanha, attachment. That's why just listen again and again and again. Is this a little more understanding?
Yes. I think there's a question from Mitsun Lan about Anyamanya Pachaya. I'd like to hear your explanation about this Pachaya, the relationship between the Chitta and other Chittatikas by way of Anyamanya Pachaya. Okay.
So it's now daily life now, moments of kusala, the Chitta and Chaitasikas condition each other, they support each other, like at moments of understanding, it's supported by the different paramis and other wholesome factors, and in return, the panya itself supports them. So the pachya is the chitta or chaitasika, and the patyopana are the other chaitasikas. So each chitta, each chaitasika is that arises together is pachya and also patyopana, supporting each other at that very moment. And it's same at moments of akusala. The chitta and chaitasika support each other in an unwholesome way. And even at moment of seeing, moments of vipaka, the seeing and the universal chaitasika support each other. The seeing cannot arise without the 7 chaitasikas, and none of them can arise at that moment without the chitta and the other chaitasikas. So it's mutual support at this moment between those different namas. And I mentioned last time about, with regard to the rupas, the 4 primary rupas support each other, condition each other mutually, but we cannot say that between the primary rupas and the other rupas. The primary rupas condition them, but it's not mutual. They do not condition the primary rupas. So the hardness or the temperature conditions other rupas, like masculinity or femininity, for example, but we cannot say the masculinity or the femininity conditions, the hardness, the primary rupas, they're dependent on the primary rupas. So it just refers to the mutual conditioning of dhammas.
I think the simile given in the text is 3 sticks propped up against each other. And those 3 sticks are able to stay there propped up because each one supports the other. So each one helps to support the other 2, and each one is dependent on the support of the other 2. And this is why it's called mutual support, because each helps the other, and at the same time, each depends upon the others.
Hải ơi, từ vì cái đó không phải là cái câu hỏi với chị, mà từ vì ban đầu khi cô Như Hòa đặt câu hỏi á, thì cô nói là Achan nói ví các thiện bằng hữu là các cái đồng sinh duyên trong tâm á, thì chị mới nói là con nhớ khi Achan nói là Achan nói tương hỗ duyên chứ không phải là đồng sinh duyên. Nên cái đó là cái phần mà chị bình luận ngay ban đầu lần, chứ không phải là câu hỏi của chị hả? Chị đã hiểu rồi hả?
I think what she meant is there was a little bit confusion. She would just want to mention, she just mentioned that it was a comment that she remembered from last time when Achan talked about a good friend. But she's now understand about the mutual support.
Sẵn đây con xin hỏi cái câu hỏi nữa cũng liên quan đến lại cái tương hỗ duyên. Con có nhớ là con có nghe một bài pháp Achan có nói là ở cái khoảnh khắc của tái tục á, thì lúc đó có sắc, có 30 sắc và sanh với lại thức tái tục, thì lúc đó sắc và tâm, sắc và danh lúc đó cũng có quan hệ tương hỗ duyên. Theo phương thức tương hỗ duyên, xin Achan và ông bà Chanchara có thể giải thích thêm chỗ này ạ.
I'm not sure if Tom is there, but I translate Sun Lan's question. So she remember there was a time that Achan explained that at the moment of reborn, there is 30 rupas, and also there's rebirth consciousness. So at that point, rupa and nama has a mutual support condition each other. So she would like to explain more about this.
You go.
At the moment of birth, the Patisandhi Chitta is conditioned by karma, and through 3 groups of rupas arise conditioned by karma: the heart-based group of rupas, the body sense group of rupas, and the sex group of rupas, the masculinity or femininity group of rupas. Now, it is the only moment in life when the rupas arise together with the chitta. At that moment, the Patisandhi Chitta and the Hadya Watu condition each other by Anyamanya Pachya. Without heart base, no chitta arises. They mutually support and condition each other. But the other two groups of rupas, if I remember correctly, are not conditioned by mutually. The chitta conditions them, the Patisandhi chitta conditions them, but it's not mutual, so it's not anyamanya. So only the Hadya Watu and the chitta condition each other by anyamanya pachya at that moment. At other moments in life, for example, when visible object or eye sense arise, there's no mutual relationship with the chitta and those rupas because they have to have risen before the chitta and they are a condition for the chitta. But it's not a mutual, it's not by anyamanya, it's not a mutual relationship. So just at the moment of birth, the Patisandhi and the Hadya Watu condition each other by anyamanya pachya. So we consider a little more about different details of pachya, just to understand how intricate the arising of each dharma is, all by different pachya or anatta. It's not just to remember names and details, but just to understand how from the first moment of life until this moment and each moment afterwards and the next moment of life and so on, each dharma arises by different pachya.
Someone reborn in the arupa vachara bhumi, then there's no need for hadaya batu.
Right, no rupa.
Okay, so only in the case of Kama Vachara and Rupa Vachara that the Hadaya Batu and the Patisandhi Chitta condition each other by way of Anyamanya.
Yes, correct.
Tâm có thể dịch lại đoạn này không ạ?
Vâng, vừa rồi con có nói là tại vì chúng ta cũng biết là khi mà chúng tái sinh vào cõi vô sắc giới thì không cần có sắc ý vật vì là đó là cõi không có sắc. Cho nên khi nói tới việc là tâm tái tục và sắc ý vật làm duyên cho nhau theo phương thức tương hỗ duyên thì điều ấy là nói cho trường hợp của các cõi dục giới và cõi sắc giới thôi ạ. Do you have any comment on all these points, Achan? Anyamanya Pachaya? I think Pachaya is always a very hard topic.
Yes, I think that in order to understand reality, especially now, to begin to understand what conditions are there, condition this moment, that's why we have to learn about what is there as a reality and understand the conditions for its arise, that there are so many different conditions. Otherwise, that reality cannot arise at all. That's why learn to understand more details of the truth of a reality before it can arise. It needs many conditions. Translation?
It's going on, Achan, so you can keep talking.
I see. No need, right?
Need, right.
Okay. So now, there is chitta. Can it arise alone? There must be conditions for it arise to be different too. Without cetasika arising together by the same condition like one kamma, conditioned moment of seeing, citta and citasikas arising together. That's why that which arises together, sahajata, understanding that they cannot arise alone, but not enough to understand the truth. It's more subtle. For example, even citta and citasikas arise alone, sahajata. What's the chief? Citta. Without citta, citasik cannot arise at all. They arise together, and without cetasika, citta cannot arise alone at all. That's why another condition for that moment of arising of seeing, there must be, as much as we learn little by little about Pajya, besides Sahajatapatya, each depends on the other. Citta depends on citta, on cetasika, and cetasikas depend on citta. Anya, manya, Pajya, mutual, depending on each other. Understanding that without Cetasika, Citta cannot arise. Without Cetasika, Citta cannot arise. Even they arise together and fall away together. See, so what is there arising together depending on each other is not only Sahajata, but also Anyamanya Pajya. And more subtle than that, what about the Rupa, which arise together? The four Mahaputarupas all depends on the other. Vayatatu depends on the other three, and the one hardness of Patavi depends on other three. They arise together, but they depend on each other too. And what about the reality, the Rupa, which depends on the Mahaputarupa? Otherwise, it cannot arise at all. Even they arise together at the same moment, but the Upataya Rupa depends on Mahaputarupa, but the Mahaputarupa does not depend on Upataya Rupa. Is that right? How many conditions Mahaputara fall depending on each other, Sahajata Pajya and Anyamanya Pajya. But for the smell, for example, depends on Mahaputarupa. They arise together. But the Mahaputarupa does not depend on the smell. Different Pajya. That's why learning about the core, the meaning, the truth, the nature, the characteristic, the quality of reality can be the moment of understanding that it's just a reality conditioned. Without the understanding, the intellectual understanding strong enough to understand the characteristic which is there as just a moment conditioned by many conditions, that's all, and then fall away. So we learn to understand conditions at moment when we talk about reality, like when we talk about citta, we can talk about anantara pacaya, samanantara pacaya, sahajata pacaya, anyamanyata pacaya. Learn to understand pacaya, not from the book, just what is this and what is that, what is the pacaya, what is the pachupana. But now learn Dhamma and begin to understand what is there, little by little. Not just remembering the name, but what is there as it is, different. So there are different words for different. So what else? Pacaya. Learn just what is there. And Upanisya Pacaya. See, people have different characteristic, different accumulation by what is experienced more than the other in life and in many lives as Upanisya Pacaya, because it's more than the other moment of experiencing an object. So it becomes a Upanisya Pacaya because it used to have that object again and again and again, not to be forgotten. So it's their condition more than the other moment. So we can talk about now, seeing how many pattaya or no need, or just learn to understand the truth. Don't mind about the word, don't mind about the pattaya, but understand the major pattaya. That without pattaya, nothing can arise at all. So cetasika is pattaya for citta to arise. And citta is condition for cetasikas to arise together. By what pattaya? Sahachata pattaya, one. Anantara pattaya, after they fall away. Arise together, fall away together, condition the after the next citta instantly. Anantara pattaya, what kind of citta? Samanantara pattaya, and so on. To let go, clinging to that as something or mine or me, that in truth, just in a moment, many conditions just that very moment, and then gone, never to rise again. And this is not just to be remembered, but to understand the moment when it's there, little by little, all, excuse me, all are there in daily life, even right now. Is that true? So in order to understand Paccaya, it has to be right now or right then, when time comes, when there are enough understanding to condition moment of letting go that as something because it's nothing by condition. What condition? Nati Paccaya and so on. Little by little, learn about the truth by way of Paccaya. To let go the idea of self, which is so very strong.
And you mentioned about Upanisaya Paccaya, and we know that there are three kinds: Aramana, Upanisaya Paccaya, and Anantara Upanisaya Paccaya, and the last one is Pakatu. So could you please help us to understand more about the differences between those Paccayas? Thank you.
Someone get angry very easily, very often, without Paccaya or with Acchaya. Easily getting angry more than the other.
Has to be with Paccaya always.
If that does not arise again and again more often, can it condition such kind of reality towards any object appearing very quickly or very strongly rather than the other? Only by Paccaya. For the one who does not get angry easily, how come? And even liking something, prefer this to that by conditions. What color do you like more than the other color? See, or I like all colors. That looks good. See, all by conditions. Some kind of food I cannot take at all. I try many times, but I can't because I haven't been used to take it very often as the other. Or even I try not as often as those who like it, like durian, see. Can durian be Upanisya Paccaya, Pakatu Upanisya Paccaya? All realities, all kinds of reality can be Pakatu Upanisya by its own characteristic. Like heat, can it be Pakatu Upanisya Paccaya? For someone who like it and someone who dislike it, even the same temperature. What makes it different? What makes different kind of feeling for different ones? One who used to live in the cold country, and what about the warm country, and so on. Even the food, the temperature, the sun, or anything, it has its own characteristic to be different condition for liking or disliking for different ones who has accumulation for different things. Is it now? Is yawning Pakatu Panisya Pachaya?
Everything is conditioned by Bhaktu Upanisaya Pachaya.
No doubt. See, that's why I begin to understand that each moment is so very short. What is there is conditioned. No one can make it arise at all. We plan to this and that to happen, but it's just thinking. What will be by conditions, not by our plans or our thinking or our thought about it. This is life, very short and gone, and to be forgotten when one does not live in this world anymore, the end of this life. No more thought about what has been in this life happening. For example, we are sitting here where would be tomorrow, from moment gone, gone, gone until then. But wrong, the sanya vipalasa is there, no understanding of the truth, taking that which appears as instinct. I am sitting, I wakes up, I fall asleep, I do not remember. All dhammas are taken as self or me to be something. In truth, sunyata, nothing, gone. It's so important only in this life. But after that, no one can remember past life. So next life, no one can remember this very life now at all. Just live for what would happen to happen, that's all. See, just for what would happen to happen, and then gone. No one can stop, no one can change, nothing can be done. Just live with no understanding of what is there. Like it, dislike it, think about it with pleasant feeling or unpleasant feeling. See, from birth to death, and then nothing. Years and years ago, no remembrance, no memory of any life at all. And this life will be forgotten when next life comes. Permanent, forever. So who are you before the birth moment in this life? See, and who will you be next life after death moment? So very close. It can be right now. Just keeps on going, go on by conditions non-stop to what? Deeper ignorance and deeper attachment, everything, on and on and on. No way out. Is that right? Samsara, non-stop. So the truth is the only way to let go attachment because of ignorance, no understanding of this very moment. It's my purse, it's my bed, it's my chair. See, only that which is seen, full of the word of atta, from birth to death, all are atta, something, something. In truth, nothing is permanent at all. Just appears and disappears instantly. What's the name? Just the name to be called. That's only that. Just the name to be known. What khandas are there? And which kind of khanda? We call it a frog and a snake. See? Pajya. Anantara Pajya, Samanantara Pajya, Sahajata Pajya, Upanishya Pajya, Pakatu Upanishya Pajya, Aramanu Upanishya Pajya. See, all are there by conditions and then gone. Each moment depends on conditions. So now is conditioned for next moment, no matter when. Future moment comes from now. And the past accumulation keep on there. Accumulated to condition when time comes, moment of seeing, it has to be seeing by conditions. Moment of hearing, just a moment of conditioned realities. All are dhammas, no matter what word we heard about now or then, the truth, what level, it's just to understand dhammas until all are dhammas. And it has to be daily life, because what can be true than daily life, this moment? Understanding does not understand the other thing else. Buddha enlightened what is there now, the seeing, the hearing, arising and falling away. But it has to be clear understanding from the very beginning. Are we talking about the truth now? To understand the truth? Not just talk about other things, but the truth is hidden eons and eons ago. So it's not just take the word to consider, but the truth is there. And the word just point out to the like seeing. So begin to understand the truth of the difference between Nama and Rupa, the reality which experiences the object, no matter what word, what name at all, whether it is Vijnana or Chitta or Mana or Mano, it's only now experience an object and then gone. Seeing cannot perform any other function at all. Just arise to see, gone. It does not belong to anyone. No one owns it as my seeing, my thinking, my planning. It's just a moment of conditioned reality, covers up by ignorance and attachment instantly. Avijjasava is there. Are you here? Are you now listening? See, asava, unknown. each moment of thinking, speaking, seeing, hearing, not just in this life, on and on and on and on and on, as long as there are conditions for it, for whatever arise. It has to arise as condition it, not more or less, only by conditions. Very slight irritation or very strong anger by conditions. And this is the only way, the path of the Four Noble Truth, the last one. Who knows that is now moment of understanding, letting go, ignorance and attachment, and the world of Atta, to understand the difference between the world of Atta from birth. And now it's the beginning to understand that which is taken for something all day, to understand the truth from hearing, considering as condition, to directly understand what is there by conditions, more subtle and more subtle. See, citta arises only one moment, is that right, at a time? So the object is experienced. It's so very short. Just that which impinge on the basis, the eye, the ear, the nose, the tongue, and gone. How can it be a chair, a table? Closes one's eyes, opens one's eye, different. At moment of closing one's eye, no seeing, no anything remembered, because nothing is there to be remembered, but just opens one's eyes. The truth is that how fast the reality which arises to experience is so very, very rapidly arising and falling away, unknown, until learn to understand just one characteristic which experiences an object at a time, but not all of them appear to be known. Sampatichana, Santirana, Panchatavaharavachana do not appear at all. So what appear in life? Seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking, six worlds, no matter in what world. But we learn more to understand the difference. What does not appear is there, but only seeing appears now, no matter 5 minutes ago or right now. Seeing is there, unknown by conditions. While the other reality arises before, after, or in between. Is that true? No one at all. Beginning to understand more of Dhamma. It's Dhamma, a very short reality conditioned to arise and fall away. Firm enough. And when citta is akusala, it cannot understand the truth of what is there at all. That's why Panya understand moments of kusala, no matter in what manners, sila, dana, or bhavana, so very precious. Otherwise, it's moment of akusala. As before, piled up on and on and on. More difficult to let go or to understand the truth of what is there now. See, just understand the truth firmer that what is there is real. No matter we use the word Dhamma or no word about it, it's real, it's there, and no more gone. It's much more subtle than this. This is the beginning to have firm confidence of the truth of Dhamma and Anatta. No matter how much we learn about, it conditions more confidence of the truth of atta and anatta. When atta is there, no idea, no understanding about anatta. But when it's there, beginning to understand anatta, what is that? Is still atta as long as it's not directly aware and understood and understand the nature of it until it arises and falls away one at a time. Imagine the truth, the penetration of the truth. To understand the difference right now, what is there appears not as well as when there is the understanding of what is there little by little. So the words of the truth is just to understand 3 rounds. So now the word 3 rounds is not the object of doubt. What is that? 3 rounds of Ariya Satya.
Pachanyana, Kichanyana, and Katanyana.
Not just the word. So what round is there now? Understanding the truth.
Pachanyana,
Enough.
not yet.
So Panya knows truthfully. When it's not yet, it understands it's not yet. Different from trying to gain understanding by different ways. And that is not understanding at all.
Tam, earlier, did you say that everything was conditioned by Pakatu Upanishad? Did I hear you say that?
Yes, I thought that somehow everything almost.
Uh, every Dhamma, any Dhamma can be the Pachya and conditioned by way of Pakatu Upanishad Pachya. But what is conditioned, the Patyapana, is every Chitta and Chaitasika, just Chittas and Chaitasikas, not Rupas. So even at moments of seeing or hearing to arise, usually we talk about accumulations of anger, accumulations of attachment, but actually it's a very wide condition. So even at moments of seeing or hearing, Vipaka Chittas, not just Kama, but also Pakatu Upanishad Pachya is needed to condition the Chitta and Chaitasikas, but not the visible object or the eye sense. So just the Chittas, just the Namas.
Yes, that's right. I think
Thưa
dạ, mời
Tâm
chị.
hỏi ha. Tâm hỏi đi.
Mời chị. Chị Sơn Lan nói đi ạ.
Nếu em để lại thì chị hỏi tiếp là thưa cô Sarah, có thể phân biệt cho con cái thường cận y duyên và trưởng duyên được ạ? Tại vì con thấy hai cái đó nó có cái phần giống nhau. Dạ.
She said that to her, Pakatu Upanishad Pachaya and Adipati Pachaya are quite similar. So can you tell me what the difference is?
The Pakatu Upanishad Pachya is much broader. As I mentioned, every Chitta, the seeing now, the kindness now, the boredom now, every Chitta and Chaitasika is conditioned by Pakatu Upanishad Pachya, but Adipati Pachya is is predominance condition. So not all citas and cetasikas are adipati pachya. I think it's just the four. I just forget the detail. The Chitta, the Chaitana, what are the other ones, Tam, that are Adipati Pachya?
Adipati Pachya.
Sorry?
Yeah, Adipati Pachya.
Adipati Pachya.
I think maybe she refers to Araman Adipati. Because there are three kinds of Adipati as well.
Yes, different kinds of predominance by way of the object and so on. So usually it's referring to the Adipati Pachya, the Chaitana, the intention, the Chitta, the Virya, and the Panya, the understanding. So, Chanda, Virya, Chitta, and Vimamsa. Vimamsa is Panya. So now, are we listening with strong interest? If so, it is Chanda Adipati Pachya at this very moment. If there's not much interest, but there's strong virya, strong effort, virya is predominant, virya Adipati Pachya. And if there is understanding, Vimamsa Adipati Pachya. So different condition.
Lan đã còn muốn thắc mắc gì về câu hỏi này không ạ? Thực ra thì em nghĩ là có thể là chị đang nghĩ đến cái cảnh cận y duyên với cả thường cận y duyên, còn bốn cái bốn cái trưởng duyên cái gì?
Tạm được rồi, chị hiểu thêm một chút xíu hay tạm được rồi thôi. Cảm ơn. Thank you, Sarah.
Sometimes now we may feel a little bit tired, but still there is enough interest to listen. Chanda Adipati Pachya. Or sometimes there's interest, but the understanding isn't strong enough. So not enough understanding. So these are factors that can be predominant. Perhaps as we only have 2-3 more minutes, so Jan would like to add a little more.
The friend also have a question, maybe we can raise it and see if we can answer this time or next time. Em mời em Cường có câu hỏi thì em có thể.
Sorry, something's wrong with my phone. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Please go on, Achan.
Are we talking about reality, which is Chitasika, not Chitta?
When you're talking about Adipati, Achan.
So what is it? Just the word or the name? Or what is Adipati? What is the reality, which is Adipati?
Câu hỏi cho chị Xuân Lan đây ạ.
Chanda, Virya, Chitta, and Vimamsa. Different degrees, is that right? when it's not itipata, to succeed, to attain the stage of understanding more than usual, more than daily life, more than at the beginning. It's different from now, which there is chanta arises with almost each chitta, except moment of ahetuka chitta, right? No chanta at all, not to arise with hetu. That's why we learn a little more, because it's so very subtle. It's just the word, but it's so not, it's not clear at all if we just remember the name, but understanding the different characteristic of each reality. Even chanda is cetasika. What is it different from other cetasika? See, is there chanda now because we have talked about it? See, if we don't understand more, there can be wrong understanding, because taking what is there as self or I is wrong. So all other is taken wrongly, even chanda. So in the day, learn to understand the reality, which is chanda. Is there any chanda? If there's no understanding of it, how can it be known whether it's there now or not?
It has to be there, but
So understanding Dhamma is understanding what is there right now, little by little, as much as there can be wise considering, careful considering, to understand that all Dhammas are so very subtle. That's why no matter how much we heard about it, it's not just like when there is clear understanding of different ones that chanda is not loba. Is that right?
yes,
Or so is that chanda now?
yes,
Nothing. Just learned about it that it's there. But nothing appeared to be known at all yet. But without understanding what is there, how can it appear to right understanding, which begins to understand what is what? So we talked about chanta in general. It's there because there is interest unknowingly. What's the object of interest until it appears to be known? I'm interested in such and such object like music or tennis or games or whatever. There must be chanda, different from loba. See, in order to let go the clinging to each moment as self, when there's a little more understanding of what is what there can be moment of attending to the characteristic of that which is there. So in a day, if we don't think about it, and we are interested right then of something, it's not known when it's I am interested. But when I'm interested, it's there being known. That is chanda, which is strong enough to be known. A reality which is not lopa, because it's interest, not attached. See, very close, but they are different. So daily life is the moment to understand Dhamma when time comes. Otherwise, how can right understanding develop if it's not beginning to understand what is there in life, even at moment of thinking about it, or just consider the truth of it in words or in thought and so on, until it's directly happened by condition to be aware with understanding that it is that which is there, which can be realized as it is. But without understanding at all, it's impossible for anyone to understand the nature of that, no matter it's chanda or lopa or viriya or chitta or panya. That's why learn to understand little by little. And at that very moment, it is the beginning of wearing away the idea of self by moment of understanding only. The path begin with samadhi. See, it's not just a word. It's the moment of beginning to understand the reality as it is, little by little. So now we understand Buddha taught about Chanda. It arises with how many Cetasikas? See, to know the difference between Chanda and Lopa. Is at the beginning to understand Chanda, Viriya, Chitta, and Panya. See, Adhipati. Without interest, can you learn anything? No interest in cutting the dress or and so on, cooking and so on. No one can do it, right? No interest. So it's activity when it's there. Anytime, just dedicate to that what you are interested. Are you interested in understanding Dhamma, Chanda, Viriya? Without Viriya, there is only Chanda. Can it be succeeded? See, just learn about what is there in life from birth to death. No matter in what world, in what situation, the truth is that they are all dhammas, the reality which is conditioned to be there. Never change because it's there just in a moment and then gone. How can it be changed? How can anyone change it? How anyone control it? It's just wrong understanding of self can do. So today is a moment of understanding what reality is Chanda. We use the word Chanda, but it is the interest of what is there as the object. What are you interested of? See, can the other know? Or just you yourself know? What is your interest in, on, of?
In interest in, and different moments, different interests. I think it's a good topic to continue more, a lot more to discuss on this topic of Adipati Pachya.
Thank you, Ajahn. Thank you, Ajahn.
Thank you very much, Ajahn.
Sadika.
Thank you so
Swadika,
much, Sarah,
everyone.
and everyone.
สวัสดีค่ะอาจารย์
See you
Thank you
on
อาจารย์ and
Friday.
Sunday
Lucky,
กลับมาตัวสิ
Very soon.
fortunate the typhoon has passed.
Oh, no, already passed already. Yes.
All gone.
Okay.
And here as well. Okay, see you very soon.
See you soon.
See you all tomorrow
สุนอาจารย์สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะ
Yeah, I don't know about that.